Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we are reviewing Tiger 3, a Hindi language Indian action film starring Salman Khan and Katrina Kaif. It is the third installment in the Tiger franchise and the fifth installment overall in the wider YRF universe, also featuring Pathan and war. And despite its visual flair, I'd say that Tiger 3 is a film that feels like it's retreading a lot of old ground. I feel like both narratively and emotionally, it doesn't feel like it's going anywhere new and particularly compelling, despite the fact that there is some interesting storylines that could have been fleshed out more and given a bit more prominence. But Tiger 3 chooses to predominantly focus on the tensions between India and Pakistan, both as countries and as, national agencies and governments. It's typical super spy world-saving stuff that forces Zoya and Tiger to team up again and go out into the field, but ultimately yields little substance in their character arcs. Now, the narrative does initially rehash the fact that they were from different agencies, that they came from different backgrounds. It really leans back to the first film, where their love story was framed against the backdrop of this conflicting international relations and choosing each other over their loyalty to their countries sort of thing. And at the start of Tiger 3, it feels like it's playing back to those roots. Not very successfully, because it is a very rushed part at the start of the film that suggests they'll be on opposing sides before quickly kind of moving on from that. And the other potential interesting development in Tiger 3 is, the personal level of the threat, both for Zoya and for Tiger, and the use of their son as a leverage point for the antagonist, which unfortunately becomes more of a side mission than emotionally driving the whole narrative. I think it would have helped lend the film some more personal stakes and given Zoya and Tiger some more compelling material to work with in this film, because they are just the kick-ass agents we've come to know them as over the last couple of films, and the script really does nothing to allow them to flex their emotional abilities and give their characters some range with the material they're playing with. So the narrative retreads old ground, the characters don't really get given anything new to work with, but the redeeming thing of Tiger 3 is definitely the action. These stylized action sequences are really bolstered by the cinematography and the lighting. I think the lighting really popped, particularly in the third act, where it was really relying on that visual entertainment and that aesthetic rather than the emotional substance, because that wasn't there. But yeah, the fight scenes were classically over the top, but very, very well choreographed, staged, shot, edited, and boasted some of the better CGI that I have seen in Indian big budget films. Compared to, say, Pathan last year, which I found really, really distracting from the poor quality of the CGI, Tiger 3 is much less noticeable. While not seamless, Tiger 3's CGI is far superior to Pathan's. And the film does attempt to connect it to that wider universe. We know we've got Tiger versus Pathan coming in a couple of years' time. We know that there's a war sequel with Hrithik Roshan. And Tiger 3 does feature cameos from both of those other two super agents. And while that is a great tease of things to come for the fans, I did find it a little distracting in the context of Tiger 3. Because for me personally, I think both Pathan and Kabir from War are much more charismatic, much more entertaining, and just much more watchable as characters than Tiger. Tiger is written as a very stoic character, a very sturdy, very strong individual, but I don't think as a character he is as compelling or as fun to watch as Pathan or Kabir. So when Pathan shows up to really inject a bit of energy into the middle act, your eyes are always drawn to Pathan. And at the end, when we get that little stinger about Kabir and the tease of the dark journey that he's going to be going on in his sequel, you can't wait to see more of that. So it felt a little damaging to include both those big characters in Tiger 3 in some way, because it hammered home to me how much I preferred the other two characters, which is no fault of Salman Khan's, it's the fault of the script for not taking him in new directions or continuing to evolve his character, because he's the only character so far with 3 films and obviously a cameo in Pathan. But it doesn't feel like he's on a character arc. It feels like Tiger is the same individual we know from the end of the first Tiger film, and he's not really had a chance to lend any more depth to that role, which I think is something he's going to need to do if we're going to have these big ensemble pieces to come. The music is very pulpy, very energizing, very loud and proud, a little overplayed at times, particularly when it comes to Tiger's theme, but ultimately still very engaging. And I'd say that goes for the film as a whole. It feels a little overplayed. It feels like we're going in the same directions, the same plot lines, putting these characters through the same sort of scenarios without really giving them anything new to chew on. Yet it still manages to be fun along the way, despite the generic nature of the film. So if you have seen Tiger 3, guys, do drop a comment below and let me know your thoughts. I would also be interested in hearing people's preferences of Tiger, Patan and War. Which is your favourite? Please also consider liking and subscribing to the channel. That's always a huge help for me. And in the meantime, we'll see you for the next vid.